Chapter 1. The Cracks in Our Marriage. I still remember the night she first said it. Her voice was cold, sharp, like a knife sliding into my chest. "You're too jealous," Elena told me, arms crossed, eyes looking anywhere but at me. "You suffocate me." I swallowed hard, trying not to sound desperate. "I only act that way because I love you, because I don't want to lose you." Her sigh was heavy, as if my words were a burden. Love doesn't mean control. Love doesn't mean checking my phone, asking who I'm with every second, doubting me all the time. It's exhausting. My chest tightened. I hated that she was right, at least partly. I did question her. I did watch her too closely. But wasn't that proof of love? I didn't know any other way to show how much she mattered to me. "Elena," I whispered, "if you just told me you wanted space, I would have given it to you." She shot me a look of disbelief. "That's the problem. You wouldn't. You say that now, but tomorrow you'll be back to the same questions, the same suspicion." Her words cut deeper than I wanted to admit. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was the problem. The silence between us that night stretched longer than it ever had. I wanted to reach out, to hold her, but my hand froze halfway. She didn't want my touch. She wanted distance. Finally, she stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I can't live like this anymore. If you want this marriage to survive, you need to change. No more jealousy, no more questions, no more control." And just like that, she walked away, leaving me alone with the weight of her words. I sat there for hours, staring at the empty seat she left behind. My mind was a storm, part anger, part fear, part sadness. Did she really see my love as control? Or was I blind, holding on to someone who no longer wanted me? Later that week, I confided in Daniel, my oldest friend. We sat in the corner of a noisy cafe, his coffee growing cold as I poured out my thoughts. "I don't get it," I said, rubbing my face with both hands. "She says I'm too jealous, that I suffocate her. But all I do is love her. Is that wrong?" Daniel leaned back, studying me with those steady eyes of his. "It's not about whether you love her. It's about how she feels about that love. If she thinks it's too much, then maybe you need to let go a little." Let go. I almost laughed. What if letting go means losing her completely? "Then maybe," he said carefully, "you'll know the truth. If she loves you, she'll stay. If not, well, at least you won't keep killing yourself with jealousy." I didn't like his answer, but I couldn't deny the truth in it. Elena's words kept echoing in my head. Change or lose me. That night, as I lay in bed beside her, staring at the ceiling, I made a decision. I would change. I would stop questioning her, stop showing jealousy, stop making her feel trapped. I would give her what she wanted, even if it tore me apart. But deep down, a fear gnawed at me. What if she didn't really want freedom? What if what she wanted was someone else? I pushed the thought away. For now, all I could do was try. For her. For us. Chapter 2. The Silent Change. The first morning after my decision, I forced myself to stay quiet. Elena left early, saying she had a meeting. Normally, I would have asked which colleague, where, what time she'd be back. But this time, I only smiled and said, "Okay, have a good day." She blinked at me, surprised. "That's it." I nodded. "That's it." Her eyes narrowed like she didn't trust my calmness, but she didn't push it. She just grabbed her bag and left. The door closing behind her felt heavier than usual. For the next few days, I stayed silent whenever she came home late. No questions, no checking her phone when she left it on the table, no arguments when she dressed up to grab drinks with coworkers. At first, she seemed relieved, like a weight had lifted from her shoulders. She smiled more, hummed while cooking, even kissed me on the cheek before heading out. For a moment, I thought maybe this was working, but then things started to shift. One night, she came home past midnight, smelling faintly of alcohol and perfume that wasn't hers. I was on the couch, half asleep, but I sat up when I heard the door. "You're still awake?" she asked, slipping off her heels. "Yeah," I said softly. I couldn't sleep. She hesitated, waiting for me to ask where she had been, but I didn't. I only nodded and went back to pretending to scroll through my phone. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "That's it? You're not even curious?" I looked up at her, my voice calm. "No. You said you wanted space. I'm giving it to you." Her eyes flashed with something. Anger. Maybe hurt. "Space doesn't mean you don't care." I raised my eyebrows. "So which one is it, Elena? Do you want me to care or to stop suffocating you? She glared at me but didn't answer. Instead, she turned away, muttering under her breath, "You've changed." "Yes," I said, loud enough for her to hear. "I have." Inside, though, I was burning. Every instinct screamed at me to demand answers, to pull the truth from her lips, but I bit my tongue until it almost bled. The next day, I met Daniel again. We sat on a park bench, the autumn wind shaking the trees around us. "She doesn't like the new me," I admitted, my hands shoved deep in my pockets. "She wanted freedom. Now she thinks I don't care." Daniel let out a dry laugh. "Some people don't know what they want. Maybe she doesn't want love. Maybe she wants attention, drama, someone to fight for her." I frowned. "So no matter what I do, it's wrong?" He shrugged. "Maybe, but at least now you're seeing her clearly." I didn't answer. My chest ached with confusion. Elena's shifting moods were driving me insane. When I cared too much, she said I suffocated her. When I pulled back, she accused me of not caring at all. That night, she confronted me again. "You don't look at me the way you used to," she said, her arms folded tight. "I look at you every day," I replied. "Not with the same fire," she snapped. "Not with the same jealousy. Do you even love me anymore?" I stood there, stunned. The words stuck in my throat. She was the one who had asked me to stop being jealous. She was the one who had demanded freedom, and now she blamed me for giving it to her. "Elna," I whispered, my voice shaking. "I love you more than anything, but I can't keep playing this game. You told me to stop. I stopped. And now you're angry that I did." Her silence was louder than any scream. I went to bed alone that night, the wall between us colder than ever. Inside, a voice whispered what I didn't want to believe. Maybe she wasn't angry because I stopped being jealous. Maybe she was angry because someone else had already taken that place in her life. Chapter 3. Her New World. It started with small things. Elena began dressing differently, tighter skirts, brighter lipstick, perfume she hadn't worn in years. At first, I told myself it was for work, for confidence. But when she twirled in front of the mirror one evening and asked, "Do you like it?" I felt the question wasn't meant for me. "You look beautiful," I said anyway, forcing a smile. She barely nodded before checking her phone. A smile spread across her face as a notification lit up the screen. She typed something quickly, not realizing I saw the name, Mark. I knew that name. She had mentioned him before. A coworker, someone who made the long hours less boring. I'd brushed it off at the time, but now, every time she said his name, my stomach twisted. Still, I stayed silent. No questions, no accusations. One evening, as she stood by the door adjusting her earrings, I tried to sound casual. "Going out again?" "Yeah," she replied without looking at me. "Just drinks with the team. You know how it is." I nodded, keeping my face calm. "Have fun." She froze, her hand still on the doorknob. Slowly, she turned, her eyes narrowing. "That's all you're going to say?" "What else should I say?" I asked softly. Her voice rose, sharp and bitter. "You don't even care anymore, do you? You don't even ask where I'm going or who I'm with. You just sit there." I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. "I thought that's what you wanted. You told me not to suffocate you. You told me to stop being jealous." Her face twisted, torn between anger and confusion. "I didn't mean for you to stop caring altogether," I laughed bitterly. "So which is it, Elena? Do you want me to chase you or leave you alone? Do you want my fire or my silence?" She didn't answer. She just slammed the door and left me in the dark. Later that week, I bumped into Sophia, her younger sister, at a grocery store. She noticed the dark circles under my eyes before I even said a word. "You look tired," she said carefully. I forced a smile. "Just work." Her eyes softened, almost pitying. "Elena talks about you less these days. She talks about someone else more. A coworker, I think." "Mark?" The name felt like a punch to the gut, but I nodded as if it meant nothing. "Yeah, she mentions him." Sophia hesitated, then lowered her voice. "I don't like how it sounds. Be careful." I thanked her, but my chest burned with silent rage. If even her sister could see it, then maybe I wasn't just paranoid. That night, Elena came home later than ever. I was at the table, staring at the untouched dinner I had cooked. "You didn't eat?" she asked, frowning. "I wasn't hungry." She sighed, dropping her purse onto the chair. "Don't start with me, okay? It was a long day." I didn't say anything. "Exactly," she snapped. "You never say anything anymore. Do you even notice me? Do you even care that I'm gone half the time?" My chest ached, my voice breaking. "Elena, I notice everything. I care more than you'll ever understand, but you made me promise not to show it. You told me to stop being jealous. And now you're angry that I listened." Her face softened for a split second, guilt flickering in her eyes. But then she hardened again, shaking her head. "You've changed. You're not the man I married." Her words echoed in the silence as she disappeared into the bedroom, leaving me alone at the table. For the first time, I felt the truth pressing against me, cruel and undeniable. Maybe she didn't miss my jealousy at all. Maybe she missed the attention, the validation, and now she was finding it somewhere else. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, whispering the name over and over in my head. Mark, Mark, Mark. Chapter 4. The Betrayal Unveiled. Daniel's call came late on a Friday night. I almost didn't answer. I was too busy staring at the ceiling, trying to drown out the sound of Elena laughing in the other room on yet another work call. "Come out," Daniel said without preamble. His voice was tight. "Now, I need to show you something." "Daniel, it's almost midnight." "Don't argue. Just come." Something in his tone sent a chill through me. 10 minutes later, I was in his car, the night air biting against my skin. We drove in silence until he pulled up outside a dimly lit bar on the edge of town. "What are we doing here?" I asked. Daniel's jaw clenched. "Just look." Through the fogged-up window, I saw her, Elena, sitting at the bar, laughing like she hadn't laughed with me in months. Her hand rested on Mark's arm, her body leaning toward him like a magnet drawn to steel. He whispered something in her ear, and she giggled, touching his chest like she belonged there. My chest. Caved in. My breath stopped. "No," I muttered, shaking my head. "No, that's not—" Daniel grabbed my shoulder, forcing me to look again. "It is. I've tried to warn you. She's been slipping away for months. And now you see where she went." I wanted to storm in, to drag her out, to scream at Mark until my throat bled, but I couldn't move. My legs were stone, my heart a shattered mess. "She asked me to stop being jealous," I whispered, the words cracking in my throat. "She begged me to stop, and all this time she wanted him." Daniel's grip tightened. "She played you, brother. She wanted freedom so she could chain herself to someone else." We stayed there for what felt like hours, watching the betrayal unfold in plain sight. At one point, Mark leaned in and kissed her. She didn't resist. She kissed him back. That was the moment I broke. I stumbled out of the car, ignoring Daniel's curse as he rushed after me. My hands shook as I walked toward the bar, but he caught me by the arm. "Don't do it here," he hissed. "Not like this. You'll regret it." I turned on him, my voice trembling with rage. "She's my wife, Daniel, my wife. And she just kissed another man in front of the whole damn world," he shot back. "Don't humiliate yourself by fighting for someone who already chose someone else." The words stung, but they stopped me. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All I could do was watch Elena laugh, unaware of the storm brewing just outside. When she finally left with Mark, Daniel had to hold me back from running after them. I stood frozen as they disappeared into the night, her arm linked with his like it had once been with mine. Back in the car, silence filled the space between us. My throat burned with words I couldn't speak. Daniel finally broke it. "You need to decide what kind of man you're going to be now," he said quietly. "The kind who begs for scraps from a woman who betrayed him, or the kind who walks away and lets her choke on her choices." I stared out the window, tears blurring the lights of the city. She told me I was too jealous. She said I was suffocating her. I thought I was saving us. But maybe I was just the fool she needed until she found someone else. Daniel didn't answer. He didn't need to. The truth was already written in the ache tearing me apart. When I got home that night, Elena was already in bed, pretending to be asleep. I stood in the doorway, watching her chest rise and fall. My lips trembled with the words I wanted to scream. "I saw you. I know." But I said nothing. Instead, I turned and walked into the living room, collapsing onto the couch. The cushions swallowed me as my mind replayed the scene again and again. Her smile, her touch, her kiss. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to hate him. But most of all, I hated myself for giving her everything she asked for, only to be repaid with betrayal. As the night stretched on, I whispered her name like a curse. Elena, Elena, Elena. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't just losing her. I had already lost her long before tonight. Chapter 5. The Confrontation. I couldn't hold it in any longer. The sight of her lips on his haunted me, poisoning every breath I took. By the next evening, my silence had rotted into rage. She was in the kitchen when I walked in. The clatter of dishes stopped when she saw my face. "Elena," I said, my voice low but sharp. "We need to talk." Her shoulders stiffened. "About what?" "About Mark." The glass in her hand slipped and cracked against the sink. She didn't look at me. "What about him?" I stepped closer, my heart pounding like a war drum. "Don't play dumb. I saw you, with him, at the bar." Her eyes widened, panic flashing before she masked it with anger. "You followed me." "I didn't have to," I spat. "Daniel showed me. He dragged me there, and I saw you with him. I saw everything." Her face paled. For a second, she looked like a child caught in a lie. Then she straightened, defiant. "So what? You think I owe you every second of my life? You think you get to control who I talk to, who I laugh with?" My voice broke. "It wasn't just laughing, Elena. You kissed him." Silence. The words hung between us like a noose. She dropped her gaze, her hands trembling. I didn't mean for it to happen like that." I laughed bitterly. "Didn't mean it. That wasn't an accident. That was a choice." Finally, her mask cracked. Tears welled in her eyes. "I was lonely, okay. You changed so much. You stopped looking at me like I mattered. You stopped caring." "Stopped caring?" My fists shook at my sides. "Elena, I changed because you begged me to. You said my jealousy was killing us. You said I was suffocating you, so I let go. I gave you space, and you filled it with him." Her tears spilled over. "I wanted you to fight for me, not disappear into silence." I stared at her, my chest burning with disbelief. "Fight for you? I was fighting every damn day. Every question, every fear, every late night. You called it jealousy, but it was me fighting for you. For us. And when I stopped, you broke us yourself." She covered her face with her hands, sobbing. "I didn't want this. I just wanted you back." I shook my head, pain cutting through me like glass. "No, you wanted freedom. You wanted me quiet. And now that you've lost me, suddenly you want me back. But it doesn't work that way, Elena. Not anymore." Her sobs grew louder, but I felt nothing. Just a hollow pit where love used to live. She reached for me, her fingers brushing my arm. "Please, don't leave me. I'll end it with him. I swear. Just don't walk away." I pulled back. "You already ended us the moment you kissed him. You just didn't realize it." Her cries followed me as I grabbed my jacket. I paused at the door, my voice steady but sharp. "You killed what we had, Elena, and now you want me to bring it back to life. But some things can't be resurrected." Then I walked out. The night air hit me hard, cold, and merciless. For the first time in years, I felt strangely free. Broken, yes, but free. Behind me, the house that once held our dreams now echoed only with her regret. After 6. The downward spiral. The days after I walked out blurred into a haze of silence and sleepless nights. I found myself wandering aimlessly. Cafes, late-night drives, empty bars where the music felt too loud for my hollow chest. But everywhere I went, her face followed me. Her tears, her trembling hands, the way her voice cracked when she begged me not to leave. I told myself I was done, that I'd never go back. And yet, part of me was still chained to her. It didn't take long for the whispers to start. Daniel called one night, his tone sharp. "You've got people talking, brother. Elena's been seen with him again." Mark. No shame this time. I bit down hard, knuckles whitening around the phone. "She doesn't waste time, does she?" Daniel sighed. "She's spiraling, man, drinking too much, showing up places with him, then storming out in tears. It's a mess." I closed my eyes. That was Elena, burning down everything around her when she lost control. And yet, some bitter part of me whispered that this was what she chose. She had him now. But deep down, I knew the truth. She wasn't happy with him either. A week later, she showed up at my apartment. Her eyes were red, her hair unkempt, and her hands shook as she clutched the doorframe. "Albert," she whispered, "please, I can't do this without you." I didn't let her in. I leaned against the door, staring at her like a stranger. "You already are. You made sure of it." Her lip trembled. "Mark doesn't care about me. He never did. It was stupid, all of it. You're the only one who ever truly loved me." Her words should have softened me. Instead, they cut deeper. "And yet you betrayed that love. Do you even hear yourself?" She broke then, sliding down against the wall, sobbing into her hands. "I hate myself. I hate what I did. But please, just don't give up on me. Not yet." I wanted to kneel beside her, to lift her up, to hold her like I used to, but I couldn't. My body stayed rigid, frozen by every memory of that night, every wound she left on my trust. "Do you know what happens to trust when it breaks, Elena?" I said quietly. "It doesn't bend back into place. It shatters. And even if you glue it, the cracks stay. Every time you look at it, you're reminded it was once broken." She looked up at me with desperate eyes. "So, you're saying we're over? For good?" I swallowed, the weight of her question crushing my chest. "I'm saying I don't know if I can ever look at you the same again." Her sobs grew louder, echoing down the hallway. Neighbors peeked through their doors, but I didn't care. For years, I'd carried her pain like it was my own. This time, she would carry it alone. When she finally left, I locked the door and sank to the floor. My hands shook, my chest heaved, and for the first time in my life, I realized I wasn't just losing her. I was losing the version of myself that believed in us. And without that, who was I anymore? Chapter 7. Regret and Realization. Nights grew colder, even though summer was still clinging stubbornly to the city. I found myself awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, listening to the ticking of the clock that seemed louder than my own heartbeat. Sleep wouldn't come, and when it did, Elena haunted my dreams. Everywhere I turned, reminders of her lingered. Her sweater was still hanging in my closet, smelling faintly of lavender and smoke. A chipped coffee mug she used every morning sat on the counter, mocking me. I thought I'd thrown everything away, but some pieces clung to me like ghosts that refused to leave. One evening, Daniel dropped by. He tossed himself onto my couch and gave me a long, hard look. "You look like hell," he said. "I feel worse," I muttered. He sighed. "You're stuck between hating her and missing her. That's gonna eat you alive if you don't pick a side." "I can't just switch it off," I snapped. "You think I don't want to forget? But every damn thing in this city reminds me of her. Even silence reminds me of her voice." Daniel leaned forward. "You know what I think? She's already paying for what she did. I've seen her, man. She's not the same Elena. She's lost. Maybe that's her karma." I wanted that to comfort me, but it didn't. Watching her unravel didn't fix the hole in my chest. It only made it wider. 2 days later, I ran into her by accident. I was leaving a small bookstore, and there she was, standing across the street, looking like a shadow of the woman I once knew. Her hair was tied messily, her eyes sunken, her smile forced when she noticed me. She crossed the street slowly, as if afraid I'd disappear if she moved too quickly. "Albert," she breathed, "I was hoping I'd see you." I clenched my jaw. "I doubt that." Her eyes welled instantly. "You don't understand. Every day without you feels like I'm dying. I tried to fill the void with him, with Mark, with anything, but nothing works. It's you. It's always been you." I laughed bitterly. "Now you realize that? After everything? After breaking me in half and walking away like I didn't matter?" She stepped closer, her hand trembling as it reached for mine, but I pulled back. "I was stupid," she whispered. "Blind. I thought I wanted freedom. I thought I wanted someone who wasn't jealous, who didn't care so deeply. But when you stopped, when you let go, I finally saw what I was losing. I saw the man who loved me enough to fight for me, and I killed that part of you." Her words hit me like knives. My chest tightened, my throat burned, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her she didn't get to confess now, not when the damage was already done. But instead, what came out was a quiet, broken whisper. "You only cared when I stopped. You only loved me when I no longer had anything left to give." Tears spilled down her face, and she covered her mouth as if to stop a scream. People were passing by, staring at us like we were strangers caught in some street performance of tragedy. But neither of us cared. "Albert," she sobbed, "please, just give me one chance to make it right. I'll spend the rest of my life proving it to you. I'll burn every bridge with him. I'll crawl through fire if I have to. Just don't give up on me." For a split second, I imagined it, taking her back, rebuilding, starting over. But then, like a cruel movie reel, the memory of her betrayal replayed in my mind. The lies, the silence, the night I saw her with him. I shook my head slowly. "You're too late, Elena. You only want me now because you've lost me, and I can't be someone's second choice, not even yours." She fell apart in front of me, sinking to her knees, her sobs echoing off the street. And for the first time, I didn't reach down to pick her up. I turned and walked away, each step heavier than the last, but strangely freeing too. Behind me, her voice cracked through the night air, my name broken and desperate, but I didn't look back. For years, I had been the one begging, the one holding on. Now she finally knew what it felt like, and maybe that was justice. Chapter 8. The Final Break. The day after our street-side encounter, I expected silence, maybe even peace. Instead, my phone buzzed with messages all night long, her number lighting up the screen, her words spilling over in desperate paragraphs. I can't live without you. Please, Albert, answer me just once. I'll prove it. I'll do anything. Don't throw us away. I didn't reply. For once, I let her taste the emptiness she had left me in. But she didn't stop. She started showing up at my work, lingering near the building, pretending it was coincidence. She waited outside my apartment one night, sitting on the stairs with her knees hugged to her chest like a lost child. When I came home and saw her there, part of me almost broke. She looked so small, so unlike the fiery, untouchable Elena I once knew. But another part of me whispered, "This is what happens when the tables turn. This is what she made you feel." "Elena," I said, keeping my voice steady, "you can't be here. You can't keep doing this." She stood quickly, her face streaked with tears. "Then tell me you don't love me anymore. Look me in the eye and say it. If you do, I'll leave and never bother you again." The words stuck in my throat. Because the truth was, I did still love her. Love doesn't die just because trust does. But love wasn't enough anymore. I took a deep breath. "I loved you more than I should have, but now I can't trust you. And without trust, love is just pain dressed up as hope." She shook her head wildly, stepping closer. "No, no, no. You can't mean that. You're saying it because you're hurt, because you're angry. But I can fix this, Albert. I swear I can." Her hands reached for me, but I stepped back. That step broke something in her. Her body sagged, her eyes dimmed, and I saw the moment the truth finally lodged itself into her heart. "This is it, isn't it?" she whispered. "We're really over." I forced myself to nod. "Yes, we're over." She covered her mouth, a sound escaping her that was half scream, half sob, and then she ran down the stairs, out the door, into the night. I didn't chase her. For the first time in years, I didn't run after her. Later, Daniel called me. "You okay?" "Heard she's been a mess again." "I told her it's over," I said flatly. He was silent for a long moment before answering. "That's good. That's what you needed to do. But I know it still hurts." It did. God, it hurt more than I'd imagined. I poured myself a drink that night and sat in the dark, replaying our entire story from the beginning. The laughter, the late nights, the jealous fights, the making up. And then, the lies, the betrayal, the begging, the regret. And somewhere between the second and third glass, I realized something. I wasn't mourning her anymore. I was mourning the man I used to be. The man who believed love could conquer everything. The man who thought devotion would be enough to keep someone loyal. That version of me was gone. Days passed. I went to work. I started running in the mornings, trying to outrun the ache in my chest. I met new people, smiled politely, even laughed once or twice. And slowly, the silence she left behind became less suffocating. One evening, I got a letter in the mail. No name on the outside, but I knew the handwriting instantly. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, a single page. Her words spilled across it. "Albert, I finally understand what I did. I broke us. I broke you. And no matter what I do now, it will never be enough. If I could turn back time, I would choose you every day, every second. But I can't. So all I can do is carry this regret for the rest of my life. I hope one day you find someone who never makes you doubt your worth, someone better than me. Goodbye." I read it 3 times. Then I folded it, placed it in a drawer, and closed it. Her chapter in my life was over, for good. And though the pain still lingered, I felt something else beneath it, a strange, quiet relief. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't holding on. It's finally letting go. Chapter 9. The Aftermath. Time didn't heal me overnight. It never does. But little by little, the sharp edges of pain dulled. The mornings where I woke up expecting her beside me turned into mornings where I simply got out of bed. The silence of my apartment, once unbearable, became something almost comforting. Still, traces of her lingered. I'd walk past the cafe where we used to sit, and for a moment, I'd see her laugh in the corner seat. I'd hear a song on the radio, and her voice would echo in my memory. Love doesn't just vanish. It fades, leaving shadows behind. Daniel kept me grounded. One night, he dropped a beer on my table and smirked. "You're starting to look human again. Proud of you." I chuckled. "Didn't know I stopped being one." "You did. When you were with her, you were more ghost than man. Now, you're coming back." His words stayed with me. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was finally clawing my way back to myself. But while I was healing, Elena's life was unraveling. Word spread fast. Mark had moved on, discarding her. Once the thrill faded, she showed up at parties drunk, making scenes, lashing out at anyone who tried to comfort her. Friends she once leaned on started keeping their distance. It was karma in motion, unfolding piece by piece. One evening, Sarah, an old mutual friend, called me. Her voice was hesitant. "Albert, I thought you should know Elena's not doing well. She asked about you." I closed my eyes. "Sarah, I can't go back, not even to check on her. If she's hurting, it's from choices she made." "I know," Sarah said softly, "but it's sad to watch. She had everything with you, and now she's realizing too late what she threw away." After the call, I sat in silence for a long time. A part of me wanted to feel pity. Another part felt nothing at all. Maybe that was my freedom, finally not being chained to her emotions anymore. A month later, I ran into her again. Not planned, not wanted, just cruel coincidence. I was at the grocery store pushing a cart when she appeared in the next aisle. She looked different, weaker. Her once bright eyes were dull, her skin pale. She froze when she saw me, her hands trembling around a carton of milk. "Albert," she whispered, like my name itself was a wound. I gave her a small nod. Nothing more. She stepped closer, her voice cracking. I wanted to say, "I'm sorry." Again. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I can't sleep at night without saying it one more time. I studied her face, searching for the woman I used to know, but she was gone. What stood before me was someone hollowed out by her own regrets. "You don't owe me apologies anymore," I said quietly. "You owe them to yourself." Her lips trembled. Tears filled her eyes, but she nodded. "I don't expect forgiveness. I hope you're happy someday. Happier than I ever made you." I didn't answer. I simply walked past her, pushing my cart, leaving her standing in the aisle with her tears. That night, I lay in bed and realized something. She no longer had power over me. Her sorrow wasn't my burden. Her mistakes weren't my chains. For the first time in years, I felt light. I wasn't fully healed. Scars don't vanish. But I wasn't broken anymore either. And maybe that was the true aftermath of it all. Not revenge, not her regret, not even karma. It was me standing on my own 2 feet again, stronger than before, because in the end, survival isn't just about living through betrayal. It's about becoming someone who can smile again without needing the person who once shattered you. And I was finally on my way there. Chapter 10. Closure. It had been 6 months since the night I told Elena we were done. 6 months of silence, healing, and learning how to live without the constant ache in my chest. By then, I had fallen into a rhythm. Morning runs, work that didn't drain me the way it once did, nights where I cooked for myself, sometimes even enjoying the quiet instead of fearing it. One Friday evening, Daniel dragged me to a small rooftop gathering. "You need air, man. You need people," he insisted. I almost refused, but something inside me whispered, "Why not?" The rooftop glowed with string lights. Music played softly. Laughter spilled into the night. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like an outsider. I even found myself smiling at strangers, listening to their stories, realizing the world was much larger than the prison I had built with Elena. That night, as I leaned against the railing, Sarah joined me. "You look better," she said kindly. "Better than what?" I asked with a faint smile. "Better than the man who used to drown in someone else's storm." Her words stayed with me. Maybe this was what closure looked like. Not forgetting the past, but no longer living inside it. A week later, closure came knocking in a way I hadn't expected. I got a letter. Not from Elena this time, but from her sister Claire. I hesitated before opening it, but curiosity won. Inside was a short note. "Albert, Elena asked me to give you this. I don't know if you'll read it, but she wanted you to have it." Claire. My chest tightened. I unfolded the second letter, Elena's handwriting spilling across the page. "Albert, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. Not dead, don't worry. Just leaving." This city holds too many ghosts for me. I can't bear to see you move on without me, but I also can't keep chasing someone who deserves better than I can give. I don't ask for forgiveness anymore. I only ask that you remember the good parts of us, not just the betrayal, because for me, those memories are all I have left. Goodbye." I sat there for a long time, staring at the words. She was leaving, ending her chapter in this city the same way I had ended mine with her. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel bitterness. I just felt peace. The next morning, I took a walk through the park we used to visit. The air was cool, the leaves beginning to turn, and I found myself smiling at the irony. Seasons change, people change, and life keeps moving whether you're ready or not. I sat on our old bench, the one where she once leaned against me and whispered about forever. This time, I sat alone, and it didn't hurt. Instead, I whispered into the air, "I forgive you, Elena. Not for you, but for me." And with those words, a weight lifted. In the weeks that followed, I felt freer than ever. I wasn't rushing to fall in love again, wasn't desperate to fill the empty spaces. I was simply living, slowly but fully. Sometimes I still thought of her. I imagined her in some distant city, trying to rebuild, carrying her regrets like stones in her pockets. I didn't wish her pain anymore. I wished her peace, even if it came years too late. Because the truth is, she taught me something no one else could have. Love without respect is poison, and once you drink it, you either die from it or you rise stronger than you ever thought you could be. I chose to rise. So when strangers asked if I was married, I no longer winced. I simply smiled and said, "I used to be, but life had other plans." And when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a broken man anymore. I saw someone scarred, yes, but also someone whole. Closure wasn't about her regret. It wasn't about revenge or karma or her downfall. Closure was me, choosing myself for the first time in years. And in that choice, I finally became free.